You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, episode 21, Savage Dragon 12, 13, 13 again, and WildCATS 14.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast Retro, the show that's ready to enter She-Dragon. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And Raven, you took a joke that I was going to make later, you bastard.
I just wanted to say, dear listeners, you're listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, where we talk about all things Erik Larsen Savage Dragon, but specifically, we're talking about these past issues of the golden eras, the bygone days. And boy, oh boy, we got a super-sized, Image X-sized month issue for you, don't we, guys?
We sure do, Raven. We sure do.
Tell them what's on the slab, Jim.
Well, first off, we got to do Savage Dragon issue number 12, which is a totally normal, completely normal issue of Savage Dragon. But then we get a trifecta as a result of that ever-classic, everyone remembers fondly, Image X month, cross month, however it's said, where all the comic creators of the Image founders all switched books for a month, because that was such a great idea.
Yeah.
To combo break Erik's Savage Dragon run. But fortunately, Erik figured out how to patch that little problem. So we're going to be covering the Jim Lee, quote-unquote, Savage Dragon issue number 13. We're also going to be taking a look at Erik Larsen's WildCATS number 14.
Yay.
And then we're going to be talking about the really real Erik Larsen issue 13, which came out apparently 8 months after the first issue 13, because that's not confusing at all.
No. Clear as mud. If you got an Overstreet price guide in one hand, you know exactly what to read.
I will say this. I've never found an issue 13 in the wild. I
Really?
had to get it off eBay. A Larsen 13 in the wild. Mm-hmm. I found lots of Lee 13s.
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah.
I did have to get it off eBay, but I did not have to pay a lot, so I don't know how uncommon it actually is.
Feels not like it was too much of a challenge. I got mine with no fanfare. How about you, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I mean, it was a long time ago when I got it, but I got to imagine the print runs at that time, we're still in 1994, were humongous. So
yeah. Well, was it just like do you know anything about like how it was solicited? Was it just the regular issue for a month, or did he like solicit 2 issues in a month?
I don't, to be honest with you.
I will tell you, if this helps at all, my copy does not feel like newsstand paper. It's like it's direct market slick.
It definitely feels like a later issue in your hand, because it came out a year later.
I'm getting the feeling that this bad boy was like a direct market only kind of a thing.
Oh, sure. I don't think any of these issues I have in my hand were newsstand. I'm not even sure. Was Dragon still getting newsstand at this point?
I got a newsstand issue 12, maybe? No, I do not. I thought one of these was newsstand. Hold on.
What's the one with the classic like different cover?
To give you an idea, my Image X month is newsstand.
The Lee one.
Yeah, my Lee 13 is newsstand.
Okay, mine's direct, so I've got gloss paper. I'm fancy.
And in fact, my WildCATS My WildCATS 14 is newsstand as well. Holy shit.
That's always the rarer one. So,
Is it?
Sometimes.
I hate them, dude. They look like shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah, they're awful.
They do not. Like, what's funny is these. My Savage Dragon 12 looks like it was printed last week, and my Savage Dragon 13 looks like it was printed like 40 fucking years ago.
And yeah, that coloring on that issue in particular, that must look really bad in faded newsprint.
On 13,
Yeah.
yes, it does, dude. Dragon has like green eyes at some, and I don't mean like his pupils are green. I mean like instead of having white, he's got fucking green, like where it's just this ugly, shitty airbrush. Like, bleh. It's bad.
Well-
It's an ugly comic through and through.
Well, let's talk about a good-looking comic, Savage Dragon number 12.
Oh yeah.
So we get this iconic she-dragon cover with what I prefer, her best haircut. I'll be honest, I've never been a big fan of the mohawk look.
The mohawk is the true icon.
I've
It's a
always-
hair fin.
But I know, I understand,
Yeah.
I get it, I understand that, but I've just always preferred her full hair. And you know what? It's probably because I came into Savage Dragon during the Savage World, and she had full head of hair for pretty much the entire time until the She-Dragon one shot. So that was the She-Dragon I got used to.
Craig, your opinions on She-Dragon here?
I think he had to get rid of the hair because it's too much like She-Hulk, and just kind of. I like the mohawk because it is like a fin. But
That's 2 for hair fin. That means you're wrong, Jim.
I guess that is the law.
You're outnumbered, Mr. Purcell. Yeah, this cover is the bomb. It's very weird, this issue, because for some reason, I mean, obviously I like fucking own it and, I've read it before, but man, this issue felt like the first time I'd read it in my life. I was like, wow, this is a good issue.
I've definitely read this issue before, although it would have been in trades the first time. Because that's how I read most of these books, is in collection form. In fact, that's how I've already read Larsen 13, because that's the issue that's in the trades. Which is why WildCATS 14 was such a surprise to me, because I expected a lot more reuse of art. At any rate, so we open up with some familiar scenes.
can I just touch on one thing on the cover that's always bothered me, and I've always looked at this on the cover?
What's that?
Savage Dragon's wonky eye. It always gets me when I look at that. Like, it sticks out to me. Do you guys not notice that?
His left one?
Oh yeah, it is kind of like
Well, it's his
trying to
right one, I guess.
It's trying to like escape his head.
I've always focused on that on this cover.
So here's the thing: I never really noticed it, and the reason is that his left eye is kind of in shadow, so you don't really notice that he's looking like the left eye is looking straight ahead while his right eye is looking to the right.
Yeah.
What it is it's the shine of his pupil. The shine of his pupil, which is consistently on the right side of his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on, like, technically, I mean, it's drawn just fine. Like, both his pupils are, like, to the right. Like, he's looking at She-Dragon. But the shine of the pupil, God damn it, Craig, you're fucking with my mind, dude. I never saw it that way, and now I can't see it the right way.
Yeah, I can only see him being like, what's the opposite of cross-eyed?
Wall-eyed, I guess.
Wall-eyed.
Yeah. And I will say, if, also think about when you're looking at this cover, this is the first time we're seeing Justice. And so it's probably pretty mind-blowing when you're, looking at this, back in August 94, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, Super Patriot?
Yeah,
what's going on here?
We have seen Super Patriot in that costume briefly when we were introduced to him through the news in, issue 1, I think, of the miniseries.
Only in flashbacks, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting that She-Dragon gets, the attention drawn to her on the cover with the text and not that.
Well, see, that's the mystery, right? It's
Right.
like, you say enter She-Dragon, it's like, whoa! But then, the mystery for anybody who's actually reading the comic is like, damn, dude, that's Super Patriot down there. Yeah, it's a really good fake out.
So as I was saying, the book opens up with some familiar scenes because we get some kind of panel recreations of the Overlord Dragon battle from the pinup issue.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because we see Frank returning for some mysterious reason. And we get a huge info dump about that, too. This is a lot. This is a lot of text. And to be honest, past Erik of the past, or actually I guess I would blame Iliopolis on this, the red text on black background, not great. Not great.
Yeah.
It reads fine.
I had to strain. Of course, my lighting's not great.
I am surprised, though. I will say that, like, when I crack this bad boy open, you know, that's one of those things that I feel like I've seen Erik tweet about, like, the wall of text when you open a comic and, like, how it's a modern faux pas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the past, clearly, no one gave a shit.
As was the style of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. Like, to me, if you open a comic, you're reading. It's a reading experience. I don't get where the first page has to just be like, wow, and that's the only text on it.
I do kind of think this kind of spells out what's going on a little bit too clearly. Because it tells us straight up that this is a Lurch clone. And
right.
Then at the end of the issue, just skipping ahead, they tell us this isn't Frank. So it's like it almost like spoils the twist.
I'll totally agree.
I totally agree too.
There must have been a better way to like say, "Ooh, Ice Frank here. Ooh, Frank's dead again. That's weird," and then maybe have it revealed at the end. I don't know.
No, I totally agree. I think that
although I do think we were told that when we saw Frank alive in a previous issue, or maybe a conversation with Vanguard. I can't remember. I think it came up. So maybe it's not a secret, but I still think it...
Well, it's not a secret at this point that he's alive because, you know, they used Lurch and it was known that he's in hiding and now, obviously, the Vicious Circle's not looking for him. But
right.
Like you're saying here, we don't know that, you know, maybe he... You know, had some kind of change of mind or something. He's going to come.
Right. Exactly. So even if we did know there was a Lurch clone involved, we don't know that immediately from looking at this page. It could be Frank himself.
I remember Vanguard in the restaurant tells him, he's like, "Hey man, you better make sure that thing's dead."
Right.
And that's when he got the big hole blown in his like outfit.
Right.
And so at this point, as a reader, that's what the only info that we would have known is Vanguard would have planted the seed that, like, Lurch was still alive.
Right. So I guess they could have played up, like, is this Lurch Frank or is this Frank? But they didn't. He just went straight to, no, this is Lurch for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think even knowing that, like, it shouldn't have just said, oh, but the Morphling is here. It's like, just let us, you know, because Overlord's dialogue, how many times must I kill you?
Right.
Kind of just tells the reader what they need to know, right?
Yeah. You know, I always kind of thought that implied that this is not the first time that he's come back, that this has happened several times, but I get the impression that he's only talking about the 2 times.
Yeah.
Oh, only 2 times? I thought that he, like, how many times must I kill you?
Yeah. So, see, you read that and you think, oh, this is like, what, the 6th, 7th time Lurch has come back? But no, I'm pretty sure this is meant to be the 2nd time, and he's just commenting on
it
the
is,
2nd
because
time.
he says, I mean, if he's saying something is very wrong here after the 6th time, I mean, he's kind of dense.
Right. You're right. You got it. I did think it was more than once, but you're right. It doesn't make any sense.
So I love this issue, and I know we're probably not going to go page by page as we typically don't on a retro, but there's so many different subplots and little things going on in this issue, which is some of my favorite type of issues for Savage Dragon. But I love getting to hear each cop have its own little like dialogue and the little personalities that come out of the cops.
Yeah, this is like one of the
making fun of his letters.
This is like one of the first times you really get like all the cops to like just get a sense of them as a group.
And I just always thought Erik did a good job in the early issues of really spotlighting Dragon's like mundane office duties as well, or just kind of around the precinct. And I always thought that was really cool.
You know, and it also kind of like plays back to that Jerry Rivers appearance, because that's why he's getting all this fan mail. So there's like a reason for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice. I agree. It's kind of kind of always like was cool to see Dragon like just with the other officers in the precinct, you know.
I do need to comment on Dragon's little baby hand, though. I feel that it can't go without comment.
His little baby hand, which one?
On a page with all the
You mean enough? I beg of you. That hand?
Yeah, that hand.
It's just because his forearm is so meaty.
Yeah, he's definitely toned down the size of his arms as time has gone on.
That is Popeye-esque.
It's a weird time of Savage Dragon, though, because it went from like him being like the build of like an average like bodybuilder guy to like this like super ballooned Hulk type arms, just, you know, and it seemed like he was still kind of feeling out his proportions.
Well, remember, it's been addressed in the letters. The letters column said, people were like, whoa, what's up with his size increase? Is like he getting new powers or getting more powerful? And Larsen was like, no, dude.
No, I am.
Yeah. It was like, I'm just making him bigger because he was always meant to be supernaturally big. And like, other image guys are why Dragon is getting inflated.
Oh, because they draw him so big? Or they're not drawing him big enough?
Or their characters are so big and he looks puny compared to them.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. It's like the other image guys were drawing such like ridiculously huge like arms and shit that he felt Dragon looked like a wimp next to him, so he had to beef him up.
You gotta admit though, his fin is on point now.
Yep, it's getting there.
Basically, how it'll be forever now.
It's not 100%. It's got a little extra.
No, it's
fin
still.
if you
You'll
look at
see. You'll see. That page where he's driving, which I love this page where the cop car is like flying over the hill. I love when he does that. But if you look in the panels where like Dragon's driving, he's got way too many segments.
Oh, that's true. I guess I do see that. Also, he's wearing those cool glasses. Am I crazy, or does this first panel with Justice look Jim Lee-esque? Maybe it's just me.
Maybe the pose. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see it. I will say that I do kind of love just like the cartooning there. Again, yeah, we don't go page by page on this, but like there's some really cartoony, like "Run, Larry, I am." Just how doofy those guys. Yeah. And then like just like you said, Craig, that cop car. I'm so glad you mentioned it. The minute I saw it, I was like, "Oh, yeah. Dude, those wheels are like wafer thin."
Dude, no, I totally hear it, like those guys running, like the diddly 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 diddly.
So yeah, we get Justice. He's like trying to be a superhero and being not great at it yet. But we also have like a break-in with this is the first appearance of Open Face and Octopus, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like there's just a lot going on in here. First, Justice, we don't know anything about him. You know, it's like, who the hell is this guy? They call him Super Patriot when they see him. You know, obviously he's clumsy as he falls in the dumpster.
Right. And he mistakes computer chips for drug deal.
Yeah. And then, like you guys are saying, now we get Open Face, we've never seen before, and Octopus, who we still haven't seen. We just see the arms. So we're like, what the hell is this thing, you know?
That's what's so funny is, Craig, you've mentioned in FINcast regulars about the slow build-up to the reveal of Octopus, and I just completely fucking forgot. I forgot that, like, for a while you just don't see Octopus, you just see his tentacles.
These massive tentacles, and you're like, well, what the hell is this thing?
Right. Is it a Kraken? The Chicago Kraken?
And I love how, like, you know, they're so brutal. So, I mean, this is a vicious circle. They killed these security guards, whoever, in cold blood. You know, there's just puddles of blood. Mm-hmm. It's just it's very like jarring, you know, in these early issues of how they handle civilians.
They earned their name, like you said, vicious circle.
Yeah.
Major props to the classic superhero misunderstanding fight.
Yep.
Get a little of that awesome action.
And you love how it's almost never Dragon.
Yeah, he doesn't really have that
Dragon
much.
Dragon hates this crap. This is why he hates superheroes.
Yeah.
All they do is cause mischief.
Guys, I am going to shit all over this fucking poster.
You're going to shit on it?
No, I hate this dude. It's so
Why?
lame. Well, like, okay, I don't mean the art. The art's
Okay.
fine.
Oh, good save.
No, the art is fine. It's all the words.
Ah.
All over it. They lame it up so hard. Arf, like, start sucking, die on the bullet, and then chubby on the gun. I did mom on his shirt. What is this?
Yeah.
What is
the
this?
art? Joe Quesada's art is great, though. I always enjoy his art.
His art's good. I do not like this kid character. I mean, he's drawn well, but, like, who the fuck is Kid Death? It's Fluffy the robot T-Rex?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
The horrendous. I'm just saying.
Is this a Joe Quesada character? Kid Death?
Must be.
Did he ever do anything with this?
Probably not.
No, I'm sure he did.
And plus, everyone knows Ash is the coolest.
I mean, I know the character Ash. He's like, what? He's kind of like Savage Dragon.
firefighter.
He's a firefighter.
Kind of lame, too.
Yeah.
Kind of lame, too. Joe Quesada is a kick-ass artist. Character creation, not his thing.
Dragon's arm's a little fucking weird.
Which one?
It's
Oh,
a lot
his
weird.
arm. Yeah.
His arm.
Oh, yeah, because he doesn't really have an elbow so much as it just kind of grows into his forearm.
He's just got a bunch of tumors on his arm. I don't know, ball sacks on his arm.
Yeah, it's I don't love it.
But I do
don't-
like some Joe Quesada, and I don't know. Overall, I think the art is pretty cool, and he got the fin decent. I think for early Dragon pinups, I think, he would be a good Dragon artist.
as long as he doesn't have Kid Death style characters in there.
Yeah.
Just get it out. Just get it out, dude.
And I missed this. On the back of the poster, there's an ad for the Image Inside Image issue that actually tells you all about the Image X month.
Right? You've never
Which
seen
is-
anything like this.
Which is kind of like a dig on Marvel with the X.
Who did the Spawn issue?
Silvestri.
Okay, because I know Dragon and WildCATS and
So they tried to give guys with single characters team books. And vice versa. So
I know Liefeld's Shadowhawk was so late they had to make it a 0 issue.
I think so, yeah. And Jim Valentino did Youngblood. And obviously, the funny thing is for McFarlane's such a control freak that he wrote the Spawn issue.
Yeah.
So
He
he
wrote
basically
the Image
cheated.
X.
He basically cheated and wrote his own issue, and just Silvestri drew it.
Lame. Lame as hell, dude.
Wait, then who did Cyberforce?
I think we should. Cyberforce was McFarlane.
No,
So he also wrote that, too.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? I guess I thought they I didn't really think about this, but I thought they actually swapped books. They didn't I don't know how
They
to
didn't just throw cards in a hat and everyone just picked something.
Right.
Whoever did one,
'Cause-
they flipped.
because
the other.
WildCATS is Lee's book and Dragon is Larsen's book, so they switched
Yeah.
and Spawn and Cyberforce and
Basically,
Shadowhawk
yeah,
and Youngblood.
They teamed a single character creator with a team character, a team creator.
Yeah. Okay. And I gotta we'll get to it. At any rate, what a wild idea. Not great for anybody.
Yeah, just talk about a lose-lose proposition.
Nobody enjoyed this, I'm sure.
You know what the move
I
would have
understand. What's that?
been? This would have been the move to make. Have each guy do a one-shot that doesn't fuck with the regular numbering, where he does a standalone issue based in another guy's sandbox.
In a way, Rob Liefeld doing the 0 issue of Shadowhawk was probably the right way to go. Everyone should have done 0 issues.
You know what's funny? Call them X issues.
Man, if Raven, we gotta get you in a time machine and send you back to 1994 and save this project.
I gotta hold on, I'll be right back.
Well, let me play devil's advocate though, because I kind of understand it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a standalone issue, someone might not pick it up. But if you're a collector of Spawn, you're not going to want to break your run, or Cyberforce or Savage Dragon, and so it gives you kind of it puts the other other creators' characters in front of your eyes. Although I think that's a flaw of the X books as well.
Yep.
I wish that they would just stay away from putting their own characters in the book because, we'll talk about it.
As
yeah,
we
good
see,
point.
it fucking sucks.
Well, okay, so
I understand.
We'll get to
why
it. And
they
you're right;
did
it does
though.
suck, but in a way, it doesn't suck because we'll get to my opinion on that.
Yeah, we'll agree. I mean, we'll see. Like, we'll talk all about it in a minute. I guess we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we still got a whole half an issue to talk about before we get to the X month.
I will say that I do think that She-Dragon is a awesome visual right off the bat. Having her beat up Justice is just interesting because he looks so old compared to the rest of the cast of Savage Dragon. So it's just so interesting to have him there.
Right.
I love this. And then, like, again, you just instantly those two are knuckleheads, and Dragon just comes off as, like, cool, competent. Like, he immediately, like, gets into, like, the thing the thing that they should be doing, which is to say pursuing fucking Open Face and Octopus. So, fantastic, stuff for me.
Yeah, it's Dragon playing the cop, and that's what's great about it. He's a cop with a bunch of dingbat superheroes. He doesn't wear a costume. These guys do. Like, I always loved that, and that was so fresh of an idea.
Yeah,
at the time.
That was always the thing about Dragon is that he's always like treated as the most competent person in the room. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, sometimes that's to his detriment. He has a lot of ego to him, and it does bite him in the ass a lot. But most of the time, he's right.
Yeah.
I will say,
It does influence a lot of his cool factor. And I'll be honest, once we eventually found out what his origins were, retroactively it makes sense because Dragon does have a lot of cur in him because he is very arrogant a lot.
Yeah.
Very confident the way Kerr was, only just not with the psychopath aspect.
Right.
That was always the thing I liked most about the Kerr thing, is that you could totally tell these are the same guys, personality-wise. It's just that one doesn't remember he's a psychopath.
One was raised by TV, and the other one was like evil Jesus.
So really, Dragon and Hortus have a lot in common.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd think they'd be
Absolutely.
better friends.
Nah, there's that arrogant issue, I mean, you can't be friends with a peon. I think him biting this tongue out and spitting it out is like...
It's one of the great iconic moments for Dragon.
Yes, dude. It's awesome
just-
as hell.
It's such a shock to see Open Face.
It's also a total Kerr move.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that panel constantly shows up.
Yeah, dude.
To
It's
this
like
day.
one of the legit, like, top 10, like, Savage Dragon violent, like, things,
What do you think about the layout of these pages, though? Just with in the you see the Hrunk biting the tongue out panel, and it's like surrounded by the panels, and then the previous panel is kind of similar, where you have the big middle splash with kind of the border around it.
Modern Erik wouldn't have
unique.
done that.
He absolutely would not do that now.
Yeah. Modern Erik, he's said before that he like looks and makes sure to take panel flow, like from a left page to a right page,
Yeah,
into account. So I see what you're saying.
and that it
where,
really
like,
isn't here.
Yeah, you got a tall skinny right next to a tall skinny.
Yeah,
Your eyes want to flow across the pages too soon.
exactly.
Right. Still a lot of good use of silhouette too, like him spitting the tongue out in silhouette.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Just cool. Guys, can I ask you
I feel
something?
like the biting the tongue out looks very anime-esque to me, or manga-esque, I guess. Like Dragon's face.
Yeah. You know what? I can actually agree in that. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because the way the shading is done, he's got like how do you describe it? Like whiskers, like Naruto whiskers.
Yeah, kind of.
Naruto
What were you gonna say,
whiskers. I was going to ask, is poop, just as an expression, that's got to be like what, a reference to She-Hulk? Was she saying poop a lot?
I think it's more just the kind of things Amy says, because she always says poop. Because she's kind of because she's supposed to be kind of an airhead, and airheads say poop.
Well, I feel like I see that in comics of this era. Like you see somebody like poop, and it's like,
I feel like Erik uses that a lot, maybe, because he like just it's kind of like a under your breath, like poop.
If it hits my modern ear, very weird. I remember saying poop a lot as a young person. It's just kind of funny to read it, just be like poop.
I think you say it weird.
Poop.
Like I don't think she's saying it that way.
How's she saying it?
It's like a cutesy way of like, poop. Oh, damn it.
It's like
poop.
Like it's cute because she's like self-censoring herself.
Poop.
Usually it's like, poop.
Well, shit.
Then of course we get here to the end, and what's this guy's name? Hard Drive? No.
Data Man.
Data Man. Data Man.
Data Man. Yeah, he's examining the Lurch remains, and he confirms that no, this is not Frank Darling.
Well, one thing you skipped is we get to see Octopus's face, but it's never tied. Like, it's just some rando. We don't know that it's Octopus.
Right. Exactly.
On the panel before, it's like, oh, who the hell is this guy?
He's lurking on the roof.
Data Man's awesome. I love all the plugs in the back of his head and his little weird, skinny, skeletal
weird fingers.
So gross. He's so
He's
creepy.
also got a unique speech pattern, which I always like when comic characters have like sort of a unique, like you can read them and know exactly who it is.
Yes, remains quite fine.
Still, picture's clear. This, not human.
Not Darling. Never was.
And then Skullface is like, he has no facial expression, but we have to assume he's pissed.
Well, I thought I actually get more of a like he's excited because he gets to go kill Frank.
He gets to blow up another dock.
So how about this fan art?
Can I just say real quick before we? I know we'll talk about it. Can I just say? I feel like, look at those stars. It's a little bit pre Starfield. You know how he kind of has like just that set Starfield these days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely just sort of like just a whatever kind of a Starfield.
Yeah, it's definitely a little different.
Yeah, dude, this fan art. I mean,
I can't be too harsh on it because I'm currently in the process of doing an Arttober thing this year, and I drew an image that just coincidentally happened to look very similar in pose to the fourth one, the one on the bottom one right,
on the beach.
Yeah, with a one hand down and then one leg up, and mine looks just as bad as this, so I can't criticize.
You know why we got to beat it up though? It's the denim shorts.
Do we have
never cool?
Never cool.
Never cool.
Not even in the 80s, really.
Well, these look like they were made. Like he just made them, like cut them. It's like an action pose, but he's on the beach. Like, I don't know. I'm struggling.
We've talked more about that image than anyone else has ever in their life.
Exactly. No, I'm kidding. Hey, Jim, take a look at the one by RTD. Yep. Tell me that's not All Might face.
Oh my, you're right. Dang.
What?
So, Craig and listeners, if you don't know, there is a Japanese comic called My Hero Academia, and the hero is called All Might, and
he makes that face.
That is his face verbatim.
Oh.
It's beautiful. I love it. What's with the back hair on Chris Walker's? Like, he really went ape on that back hair, dude. And the forearms, too, are real hairy.
Yeah, just weird.
I love them, dude. I love that there's, like, all kinds of different art of different skills. I mean, you know what? We're being dicks about it, but, like, I actually like when you see, like, crude dragons and stuff, because it shows the readers we're young. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, you're a kid. I was a kid reading this stuff. Like, so it's kind of cool, man. I like it. I mean, we're busting chops, but I do like it. And the one ad, we're not talking about letters this whole issue because, frankly, out of 4 issues, they were mostly dogs. But the one ad that this issue gets, Cyberforce is back! And it's an ongoing series. Oh, baby.
Did anyone here read Cyberforce?
I did, and I loved it.
I got the miniseries. I don't think I moved on to the ongoing.
I didn't really. I read the miniseries, and I mean, I just like that Silvestri art. I like Velocity. I still think she's a fucking great visual.
She is, actually. She's like the one character I can point at and say, I want to read more about her. Unfortunately, there's actually, I think, a pretty good Kurt Busiek series about her, which I picked up that I should own. In fact, I think Dragon's in it, which is why I bought it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Cool. And my man Stryker. I know you hate his like asymmetrical multi-robot arms.
So dumb.
But I don't care. I love him, dude. So I think even though you got like Rip Claws, like a shitty Wolverine, like he's got Evil T-1000.
Shitty
like,
Wolverine number 4.
That can't hold anything in his razor blade fingers.
Can't scratch his nose. Can't hold his dick to pee. Just life is hell when you're Rip Claw.
That is such a
That's
weird
pretty funny
design. I wonder if they ever addressed that in the comic.
The dong holding that he has, like
No, just like not being able to hold anything because every finger is a razor blade.
What's so stupid is Warblade is just the same freaking thing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like it's literally like Evil T-1000 claws. It's so shitty.
But does Rip Claws change shape? Like, do they?
Yeah,
I thought
Rip
they were
Claws come
always-
out.
I
They
mean,
can get big.
They must.
I thought that. So I thought the WildCATS guy. What's the WildCATS guy name?
Warblade. And I only know
thought
that
his
because
I
only know that because Eric labeled them all.
I thought he had like the T2 type, the T whatever 1000.
Well, they make
whatever it
a
is.
joke about that in the issue.
But I thought Rip Claw's hands don't change because I don't
Oh.
think I've ever seen them change.
I guess I'm wrong. Yeah. It's still shitty though to have like claw hands all the
Yeah,
time.
that's what I'm saying. Like how at least that the WildCATS guy can change his fingers and make them dull or something. This guy just has like fucking jackknife fingers.
Yeah, you definitely see Warblade with regular hands on the beach.
And basically Psylocke, like
Well, they're all. It's like Lady Deathstrike. She has those kind of hands.
no, I mean like I'm talking about like Cyberforce, like the other team member that is basically Psylocke.
Oh right. Oh
It's
yeah,
like-
and of course WildCATS is one of those too. That's what Voodoo is all about, I assume.
I could beat him up all day.
Ah,
but we
yes,
won't.
we could do this all day.
But we won't. Are we doing Jim Lee?
We're gonna just talk briefly that some of the details about it. It exists. I'll tell you that much. So
Let's be brief.
I read it for the first time today, and I'll admit it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Oh god damn, it's worse
It's
than I thought.
also just not very interesting.
You said it.
At all.
Am I crazy?
At all.
Am I crazy, or is this the first appearance of Captain Stewart?
No, you're crazy because Captain Stewart's definitely been in other issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Because it
This
is.
sucks.
It's interesting what side characters show up in this, though. Because
Yeah, we're gonna criticize that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say Captain Stewart's in this. Johnson's in this.
And
Yep.
And Alex, of course. This is the one where she gets shot and doesn't die. We don't talk about that.
God, so shitty.
So basically, the whole story is what's his face? Grifter comes to Chicago and meets his brother, and his brother is, I guess, moving weapons under the Vicious Circle's nose or something.
It's a weird like shoehorn of the Damonites. Basically, are trying to like muscle in arms dealing into Chicago, and the VC, the Vicious Circle, is like, "Hey, man, what the fuck?"
But yeah, they don't show up ever, right?
Yeah, it's so forced.
The idea of the Demonites, I don't know a lot about them, but them just trying to be like gun runners, mob boss sort of thing is
It's weird.
kind of dumb, and like
Yes.
it's just not very like cool. But then I think about the fact that Darkseid and created Inner Gang and did the exact same thing at DC. So I don't know.
DC sucks. So
well, this is Jack Kirby, so I don't know. I don't know how many people are gonna agree with that one.
I like his art, but whatever. That's a shitty idea. Like nobody's perfect all the time.
Having your cosmic space entities creating mob bosses.
Here's my problem with it. Like, I think you put your finger on it right there. You got your superhero comic,
yep.
And it's in Chicago, which is full of freaks, and you got Damonite, so you should again have more interesting things. And this could have very well just been a fucking crime comic.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many normal dudes in this; it's absurd.
How about that cool looking armor though?
He didn't do anything but die.
That's exactly right. He got shot in the back with a bazooka.
The Space Bat guy?
Yeah, Space Batman.
I don't know which came first, but his design kind of reminds me of a Holocaust from the X-Men, from the Age of Apocalypse. I don't know if either of you read that.
Surely Age of Apocalypse predates this. Surely.
Maybe.
I reread this and I was surprised, like I think you mentioned, Jim, how many supporting cast of Dragon was in this, but that's the problem. It's like mostly supporting cast, and Dragon appears very sparsely.
Yes,
probably for the best, based on how he's depicted.
Does anyone think that when you see the, first of all, can we touch on one thing? I don't think Jim Lee drew this as much as just did roughs, and I think that's kind of laid out in the inside.
What are you saying?
Cover.
It's listed as pencils, Jim Lee, right here.
Pencils, and then instead of inks, it's just finishes, and it's 4 different people.
Yeah.
And when you look at this, you can tell a lot of this is not Jim Lee art.
Yeah.
It's just not very good.
And again, it's touched upon in the letters column that Jim Lee just had a kid and was working on the WildCATS Saturday morning cartoon. And so he was clearly fucking preoccupied. Craig, didn't you say that WildCATS 14 was like Jim Lee's farewell issue?
Yeah, when we were talking off air, I read that, right after Larsen, right before Larsen was Jim Lee's last issue on the WildCATS. So for the image crossover, Erik Larsen did WildCATS 14. WildCATS 13 was Jim Lee's last issue. So he's basically done on hiatus. So at the same time he's drawing Savage Dragon, I think this might have been the last thing he did before going on hiatus.
Yeah, I hate this comic, dude. This is just this is poor comics in every way. I'm
just bored reading through it. I'm like, ugh.
It's boring as fuck, but I'm telling you that, as a comic, as a constructed, physically, as a product, it fails. It does the things where, there's back and forth, done in very inelegant ways with the long tails all trailing in between each other. It commits the early image sin of someone, jumping through the air and shooting and, talking a bunch. It's and that doesn't happen once. That happens so many times in this comic where someone's jumping and stuff. We're not doing blow by blow, but I'd just be remiss to not say there's that page where the last panel where Dragon is punching at Spetsnaz, and he's like, "Damn you, butcher! I'm going to what? I missed," and it's whoosh on his fist, and I'm just like. Jesus, man, you couldn't have conveyed that more elegantly. It's wretched.
What? I missed. We can see that you missed.
Yeah, we can fucking see, my man.
Everyone yells out when they missed.
That's such a weird thing, too, because I kind of interpreted it as, he was doing something, unexpected to, cause Dragon to miss.
Right.
But then it's never, followed up on. It's not like he's got, cybernetic enhancements or some crap.
Whoa, I missed. Yeah, Spetsnaz sucks. So you're going to have a guy show up that is going to get greased at the end of the issue.
Right.
At least make him look cool.
And the worst part is he looks just like Max, so I kept mixing him up the entire issue.
So boring. Nobody's named good. Spetsnaz? That's the name? Really? And then he's got all these forced, Renko. And then he's got, all these forced, Das Vidanya, yeah. And it's ugh. God damn.
It's funny. I look at the drawings of Nurse Anne. And it's like when Erik draws that kind of silly like nurse costume, it looks okay to my eye. When someone else tries to draw it, it just looks so ridiculous.
The super clingy nurse outfit.
Yeah. And when I look at Nurse Anne in this book, there's no way in Christ that Jim Lee drew that. No way.
Nurse Anne looks like the porn star Natalie Mars. Have fun with that when you Google that.
Nurse Anne looks like a Rob Liefeld clone tried to draw her. Like, there's no way a Jim Lee drew. I guarantee you. Like, his Russ are probably a stick figure.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. There's no Jim Lee guidance on this at all. And, like, it's just like there's this bizarre subplot with people not wearing vests. Like, Grifter doesn't wear a vest, and then Alex gets shot, but it doesn't matter that she's got protection because Renko's using the polymer ammunition. But then later in the issue, he's like, oh, but I was wearing a vest because I'm not dumb like my brother. And it's like, God damn, really? Are we going to keep going on and on about who does and doesn't wear vests? Like, what the fuck kind of subplot is this? It's so stupid. It's the worst, dude. This is one of the worst.
It's a straight up grifter comic too.
It's a grifter comic, but like what's funny is I swear to God, even a grifter comic like couldn't have been this bad. The choices that again we'll talk about Savage Dragon 14, but like we'll talk about WildCATS 14. But like the choices when you're going to pull from the cast, like Erik drew the entire team of WildCATS. Mm-hmm. And he made them awesome.
He did.
And he made them interesting and likable. And Dragon they also feel like they're like good, like treatments and good handling of the characters. And Dragon and everybody, Anne, and like he pulled from, like you said, Craig, the side cast, and everybody feels weird.
The panel where Grifter pulls out the rocket launcher, it looks like he's aiming it straight at Dragon's head.
Right. And Dragon is just cracking his knuckles like, well, time to die, I
dude,
guess.
Get out of the way.
That's bad trigger safety, right? Hey, and even, again, like when I'm talking about this being a bad comic, I mean, even the dialogue, who says, how unnatural, it's full of unnatural dialogue. Hey, big guy, get ready to be happy. What? Who speaks like that? It's like cheer up, or you'd say something like cheer up, or don't worry, I got something that'll turn your mood around, or something like get ready to be happy.
you know what kills me most about this issue to this day? You have people being like, Dragon never looked better. One of the best issues of Savage Dragon ever, and it's like, what the fuck?
That is literally someone judging a book by its cover.
I swear people even read the inside are like, I don't know. It just disturbs me when people... I think this is probably the worst issue of Savage Dragon.
Easily.
Easily, yeah.
Easily.
I shouldn't even say probably. It is. It's just not good.
It is a bad comic. Like I said, like there is just no defending some of the choices that were made. There's shitty names. There's shitty, like, talking while people are flying through the air. There's bad, like, fucking characterization, inconsistent art, shitty anatomy, like, ugh.
The crazy thing is, I can guarantee you, back in 1994 when I heard that Jim Lee was the one that was going to get Dragon, I was probably so fucking excited and relieved that of all the Image guys, like, it would be Jim Lee gets Dragon, Right. And then when you actually read it, it's like, it's probably the worst of the bunch.
You're going to make me hunt down those other Image X titles.
I have some of them, not all of them. I must have.
I'll tell you what.
Cyberforce one.
Rob Liefeld's Shadowhawk, where the writing is probably completely horrible. I haven't looked at it in years. The art is actually pretty cool, and even like even the cover, like Shadowhawk, probably never looked cooler before that.
Really?
Yeah. You don't agree?
No, I don't.
Okay.
He's kind of like, I don't know how do I even phrase this. It's just that cover because if those who don't know, the cover is like a top-down shot of like Shadowhawk crawling on the ground. Mm-hmm. It makes me think he looks like a frog.
I love it. I don't know. I always did. I think even in the insides, he kind of did like a.
It's like a sexy ass cover.
I don't know. I don't feel the same, but I thought he did a pretty cool job on the art duties on that. And then I thought, McFarlane, he did an okay job. Silvestri always does a good job. And I'm not a huge fan of Valentino's art, but I thought he did a good job on Youngblood with the story-wise.
Guys, the villains are talking about something inside the warehouse, and then the double-page splash where, Dragon's on the left and Grifter's on the right, and it's like blam, 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 fam, 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 because I guess they're laser guns, scratch. Dragon and Grifter have somehow heard with perfect clarity, despite being clearly outside, they've heard with perfect clarity what was being said and are even retorting to it as quips. I hate this comic. It's such a shitty. By the way, Officer Iguana is here to take the rest of you to jail. Such humor.
Ugh.
Do you want to talk about the new Fall 94 Spawn action figures have arrived?
Let's do that, because that is the lone ad. Once again, we are only treated to one ad. I want you to really appreciate that Todd Toys logo.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because, as we all know, it's currently his company's called McFarlane Toys now. So I guess they were called Todd Toys at one point.
Sounds to me like someone is dodging taxes or something. You know how people just rename a business and then it's still the same business?
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, I remember it being Todd Toys when it came out.
Right.
And then, you're right, Jim. Over the years, it somewhere became McFarlane Toys, and there's got to be a, tax reason for it.
I think he just realized that Todd was just kind of a boring name, and McFarlane is a name people trust.
I love those original toys, and they were really just toys. Like Spawn with his, cape that, two little pieces kind of fold in.
Mm-hmm.
Did you own any of these?
I did not. No, I wasn't. I was already kind of out of my toy phase there.
Well, I'm currently into my toy phase, and McFarlane Toys is kind of a big part of that right now.
Really?
Yeah, he makes good toys now. They have articulation, where in the past they were just statues.
I do. The only Todd McFarlane toy I have is the Savage Dragon figure,
and that thing is awful. It's got no articulation. I hate it. I wish someone would make a good one.
Jim,
See,
worse
for
than
me,
that,
I don't care because I just kind of put it on a bookshelf.
Worse than that, it's got that weird articulation where he's got that joint in his leg, and you just rotate it around.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, nothing.
I will say this: it has very good proportions. It is the best looking dragon figure by miles.
I agree. I think a lot of that has to do with the lack of articulation.
Exactly, you can do a lot more when they don't have to move.
But making Violator a bendy was inspired.
It looks horrible though. It reminds me of those Easter Bunny
that's what it is, dude.
It's what? What is this?
He has risen. That's what Violator's saying.
Violator to me has always been such a horrible looking character. I am not intimidated. It does not look scary or menacing at all.
No, it's stupid as shit, dude.
That is your main villain. It's what the Christ?
Doesn't he also turn into a fat clown?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the fat clown looks a little creepy to me, but this Violator guy with I don't know, he's always just looks so goddamn silly to me. And then Mel Boja with the
he looks the worst.
Barbie hair. Oh, he has the Mary Jane weird hair.
And he's got a weird pot belly, but no upper body.
Yeah, doesn't he have a fucking Happy Trail or something?
Yes, dude. Yeah, it's Malbolgia looks shittier than Violator, if you can believe it.
Yeah. It's
I can at least see with Violator, he was clearly ripping off Venom Mouth, right? Clearly.
It's so stupid.
It is, yeah, but it was just dumb as shit. And it's so funny because Spawn as a design is such a home run.
Yeah.
And then you look at the design work on Violator and Malbolgia.
Yeah, it's man, these are demons in hell, and this is what you're giving me? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
So silly.
You put that great.
I think we shatted on Jim Lee's Savage Dragon enough.
Yeah, what a fucking turd of a comic. Anybody who says this is the best issue is a stone moron, and you should definitely go get your brains checked out at the brain doctor.
Now let's read a much better comic.
Right.
So this WildCATS 14 is actually, in my opinion, really good.
Yes.
From like all angles. I mean, the story isn't anything to write home about. It's basically a superhero misunderstanding fight comic, but it looks great and it's fun. And I want to read more about this WildCATS.
Yes.
Too bad they don't exist.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, like, Jim, you nailed it. And like on top of that, oh wow, he fucking introduces the concept of WildCATS to the reader. So if you were a new reader, say your Image X, has worked, and you're a Larsen guy picking up this WildCATS thing, and you had no previous interest, well, this first page introduces you to the fucking universe of WildCATS. Wow, what a crazy idea.
It works both ways, too. If you're a WildCATS reader and you don't know anything about Freak Force,
It's almost like that Larsen guy's pretty talented.
Yeah.
But, so this is where I was kind of getting at previously, is that I kind of like that, but in the same way I hate that, and I wish... Part of me wishes that these creators for the crossover just did an issue of just WildCATS or just Savage Dragon without throwing their characters in. But the other part of me is like, well, they've got to try to... It's almost like a sales thing where you try to introduce your characters to people that wouldn't normally...
It's such a weird premise, though, because all these books are driven by the creator, all right? So Lee or McFarlane or Larsen, etc. So the idea of switching books, I guess the premise is to try to get readers of one of these artists to possibly read the books from the other artists that they might not have otherwise. But at the same time, the appeal is to have these particular creators on these particular books. And so what you wind up with is someone who, like us, who read Savage Dragon, we just see a speed bump with a Savage Dragon 13.
Right.
I mean,
it's not like it's Spider-Man where you have a bunch of editors. It's like you're jumping in the middle of someone's vision, and it's like early on their vision. So you're like, Savage Dragon 13. The thing's only been out for a year, and now some schmo is coming in and writing their own issue and knows nothing really about.
I probably should check my issues because I have some of these WildCat issues from this period. I want to see what the WildCATS letter writer response to this issue was, because I suspect they hated it. That's just a guess.
I'm guessing the tone is...
Yeah.
If you look at the tone of Savage Dragon 13 by Jim Lee, and then you look at this WildCat, the tone is so different,
Yeah.
And if you're used to the writing of what we got in Jim Lee's Savage Dragon 13, and you like that, you probably are not going to like Erik's version.
But it's fucking crazy because, again, like, if you just look at this from a comic standpoint, like, this WildCATS issue is just so much more solid.
Oh, absolutely.
Than in every way.
It's so much more fun.
Yeah. It's a better use of the characters, like them wanting to go on vacation because they're tired. I'm like, that's great. That's great.
Unfortunately, I do want to say that I think this first page here, I think the sound effect sort of ruins it.
It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, you can't really see what he's punching. Unfortunately, it kind of really, you have to really look at it, and it just breaks up the panel too much, and you can't really see where the back of his head is.
Agreed.
I think a smaller sound effect would have been better here.
Just boom, just something instead of like a giant like.
Well, and all the colors are the same. Like Maul's suit with this guy in the background, everything just blends together. It's a little weird.
But gotta love this splash page, though. I do have to say, though, as much as I like the way Larsen draws women, these as much as I actually like how he draws the WildCat women, they are kind of wonky, especially Voodoo's face.
Voodoo's a home run, dude. She's so cute. He's done such a good job with her there,
and it's great to see Virago back.
Virago.
No, that didn't work. Sorry, I think
that worked.
I think Virago and Zealot look a lot alike.
Yeah, no, that worked. I got you.
It's a weird stance of like the side boob and the butt.
You know, it's we call that the forbidden pose in comics because you're really not allowed to do it. But what's funny is I've got a million photos of people just naturally doing the forbidden pose. It actually is just fine. It tracks.
I will say this. I do think the WildCATS team have enough interesting aspects going on so that when Larsen draws them, they look cool.
Oh yeah, dude. Visually
Warblade
distinct.
looks cool as hell.
Except for Warblade, nothing can make you cool.
He looks cool as hell.
I think he looks cool.
Splash.
Yeah, I think he looks cool. Even Spartan. To me, Spartan is the most boring, and I think Larsen does interesting things with him.
I kind of like... See, Spartan's one of the other few characters on this team that I actually have an interest in, because I like that he's kind of plain. Because he's very much like a Captain America type. And I think Erik made good fun of it. Like how boring he is. Yeah, exactly.
Guys, how do you feel about their midget leader?
Every team had one. Had to have one. It was a law.
Yeah, it's like Troll or this guy.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, right?
I'm fine with it. No, it's okay.
No, I think he did a good job. I think WildCATS fucking looks like fantastic under his pin here. And I'll agree with you, the monster is where he phoned it in. Just basically like a pile of rock men with multiple arms.
Yeah.
He definitely could have done.
Is that a known monster?
No, I'm sure it's just a random demonite bad guy. I think the whole idea is that basically we are getting to the end of a WildCATS adventure. Because what this entire issue is about is the team wanting to go on vacation. After a big fight.
Yeah, and the Damonite War never ends is the point that they're making. So it's like this super long, forever war, and they're just like, look, dude, it's fucking the war's not ever going to end. Let's just take a vacay.
Now, to be fair, I don't know a lot about WildCATS, but one thing I do know, because I bought the first 12 issues out of dollar bins, is that this is issue 14, and I know for a fact they go on vacation in issue 8. So they've already had vacation. What's with all these vacations?
So you're busting Erik's chops, saying Erik wasn't reading. Uh-oh.
I'm just saying they take a lot of vacations.
I love... Go ahead, sorry.
Oops, go ahead.
I was going to say, I love all the acronyms in this with Erik just poking fun at WildCATS. It's way over the top, hilarious.
Yeah, I was asking, is that a joke on...
Yeah, he's totally busting on... Because there's always all these acronyms in WildCATS. So WildCATS itself is an acronym, and it seems like I think within the comic itself they always throw these weird acronyms to try to sound technical.
Yeah, they're not that covert. I'll be honest.
Yeah, how can you be a covert action team?
Tactical espionage. What's the third word? Something like that.
Action.
Tactical espionage action. Yep. And I'm pretty sure this predates Metal Gear Solid by a lot, so that's funny.
You're saying Hideo Kojima was...
I'm saying Hideo Kojima stole it from WildCATS.
They're a covert action team with a purple guy that becomes giant and busts through walls. Guy with green hair and giant scissor hands.
I will say Maul's kind of interesting as a Hulk type, if only because of his, he's got the Hulk thing, the madder he gets, the stronger he gets, but he also has the bigger he gets, and also the dumber he gets.
Yeah.
And also he has a Kirby riding device for some reason.
That thing is awesome. I don't know if Erik probably made that up for this.
Yeah, I think it was just they needed something for him to ride, and he wanted to get his Kirby on.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Threw a little Vanguard in there.
Right. You got to be loving that as a, the Rocket Racer? Who's the guy you love, Jim?
This is Orion's. Orion's.
You're talking about the skier. What the hell is his name?
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Isn't it? It was the Black Skier or something.
Black Racer, I think.
Black Racer, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think we made a mistake. Well, not so much a mistake, just a bad timing. This thing with Mighty Man not saving this woman from the building, that happened in Freak Force, right?
Yes.
We just haven't read it yet.
No, wasn't that a backup in Dragon?
Was it? I know we haven't read it yet. If it actually happened on panel,
I feel like we already read this.
Yeah, I think we did. It's Overpower? I thought that was in the backup of one of the Dragon issues.
I don't know. I don't remember. I do not remember.
I will say, Craig, you had mentioned that it's a strength of Eric's that he puts, what was it, Freak Force? We were giving Freak Force praise for having the team in their street clothes. Hey, look, what did Erik do? He instantly put the cats in their vacation clothes.
Yep. That's fun. It's always fun to play dress up. To be a great comic artist, you also have to be a fashion artist.
Oh, yeah.
However, we do see the Freak Force team in their superhero outfits.
Yeah, just lounging about in their superhero outfits.
It is kind of cool to see both teams. There's a lot of characters in this book. This issue, rather.
Yeah, man, I just think that this hums along at a great pace. I think that there's this, it's like, of course, Larsen is the stronger between Jim Lee, but he was more involved, clearly.
Right, I mean,
like,
he wrote, drew, and inked it, like he does any issue of Savage Dragon. So, of course, he had total control over it.
Right, which is what the Jim Lee Savage Dragon issue should have been.
Right.
And I think, just when you hold these two up, side by side, it's like, man, goddamn, dude, like, Larsen really, delivered on this WildCATS issue. And it's like, dude, Jim Lee phoned that fucking, Dragon issue in so hard. Whether his kid was born or not, just do it delayed like Liefeld did. But it's like, man, there's so much awesome shit going on in this WildCATS issue. We don't go page by page, but it's hard not to because there's just so many cool moments. Like Super Patriot shooting the shit out of him and then that dude's eyes just popping out.
Yeah, that's like one of the iconic Larsen panels of Spartan and Super Patriot just shooting the shit out of each other.
Yeah, anytime there's robot characters that can just mangle each other.
It's so good, dude.
You gotta feel bad for Grifter getting stuck with Hortus.
No, dude. You know what? That was the ultimate, perfect. Jobbing Grifter out to Hortus is perfect.
It is interesting, though, because Freak Force basically kicks these guys' asses.
Yeah.
He definitely made them a little too powerful for what they are, but I feel like you had to do it when you're doing, a crossover like this.
Yeah, if he has his dudes show up and get their ass kicked, it's that's not good.
Yeah, I think as cool as it is to see Dart kicking Zealots in the face, I think it's a little bit much. Because I know Zealot is some sort of super warrior and has swords. Right.
Yeah, that's her gimmick, but it's so lame. At that same time, Dart is a fucking badass too. Remember, at this point, she's run towards absorbing Junior and just is not fucking scared of him at all. So of course, dude, Dart versus Zealot is actually a super good matchup.
I love the panel with Maul just smashing Mighty Man into the ground. It's such a cool looking panel.
On which one?
I think it's further back. It's during their initial fight.
It's after the double page
spread
when they're facing each other.
Brackabadoom.
But before, the Spartan and Super Patriot battling. All those panels look great, honestly. I love how he does the Grifter, expressive eyes.
Yeah, like Spider-Man.
Yeah. So, just to jump off for a second, I looked up Overpower on the Savage Dragon wiki, and I think that was for this issue. Erik just made it up as a backstory, and it was never done. And then he went into the Savage Dragon Possessed trade paperback and put pages in there and added him in there. He only appears in the Possessed trade paperback and in a backup of issue 72.
So he reprinted it in 72 because he likes to do that. He doesn't like to keep stuff exclusive to the trades.
I guess. I don't know if it's reprinted or he just shows up in a different story. I don't know.
Good point.
But yeah, so it was never done before, and I think he just created that backstory after the fact.
And then we end with Bikini Party Summer.
Yes, I'm super down with it. It's good to have like just characters lounging about at the beach.
Except for like Zealot and Super Patriot aspiring.
They can't relax. Relaxing's for the weak. Also, first topless Rapture.
Nah, we had the Sidewinder when his hand was gone.
Right. So, yeah, I think this is a really good issue, all things considered. I think
it's a great issue, dude.
Real quick,
I was going to just say, I think if I'm Jim Lee and I look at this, you just got to feel shame. That's all.
Yeah, shame, exactly.
You got to just know that you phoned it in. And that's never how you want to do. Like, when you're collaborating, you always want to feel like you gave it your best. And it's like, there's no way in hell that he could feel like he gave it his best, dude.
What do you think Larsen's feeling was when he first saw Savage Dragon 13 by Jim Lee? Was he just like, fuck?
Well, it's a story as old as time. Erik participates in these things, and he always winds up being the guy to do the work. And everybody else just phones it in. It happened here. It happened on the 10th anniversary hardcover. It happened on Image United. It just keeps happening.
Image Zero.
Yeah. That one was super late.
Super late. Not only that, he's the only one that wrote a story worth anything.
Right.
And then, you either get pinups or bullshit.
It just keeps happening.
It's kind of like it sucks shit because like he's the strong link, and like you just never want to be the strong link. Like,
but the thing that drives me crazy, but then it's like people still rant and rave about McFarlane and Jim Lee, like they're God's gift, and it's like, God damn it,
God damn it, indeed.
I mean, yeah, that's the great, like, dude, that's the great. Even when I tell people, it's like, oh yeah, I love Savage Dragon. I'm on this podcast. We talk about it and all this stuff. I was like, oh yeah, Image. I always liked Spawn. Oh, I mean Jim Lee, yeah. And I'm like, dude, those were the shittiest. Like, if you would like read the comics, you would know. It's
this is a bit esoteric, but I saw it was trending on Twitter today, and it's kind of relevant. So this new game came out for the Nintendo Switch called Metroid Dread, and it's a new Metroid game, and it's really good. And there was this trending topic of basically, I believe it was just called $60, and they were showing a side by side comparison of like Metroid Dread and God of War, the new God of War for the PS4, and they were going, look what $60 buys you on the Switch versus the PlayStation. And the point of it is that the graphics in God of War are fancy and expensive looking and flashy, and in Metroid it's because it's on the Switch and because it's just not that kind of game. It's just not as flashy. I mean, it looks good, but it's a little bit rougher looking. And the argument is that things that look good should be worth more. And things that are just good maybe shouldn't be worth more. And it's kind of a similar situation here where you get your flashy artists like your McFarlane and your Lee and your Silvestri. And then you got Larsen, who is just a workhorse, who does the work and does the great stuff. And he does not get the respect those others get because he's just not as flashy.
Well, I think that's a tale as old as time, too. Like, if you go back, guys were saying the same thing about, like, I don't know, Sal Buscema on Spider-Man or something. You know what I mean? When Erik was the hot guy and McFarlane on Spider-Man, you had, like, Sal Buscema doing, Spectacular Spider-Man? Like, issue in and out for, dozens and dozens and dozens of issues, always on model and everything, and I'm sure I know when I was a kid, I was like, ugh, I'd way prefer Larsen or McFarlane to this guy. And I don't know. I think it's just a cycle that just goes, maybe.
Tony Moore and Charlie Adler. I mean, there's there's a very recent example. Everybody still sucks Tony Moore's
recent 20-year-old example, yes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Walking Dead is something everyone can relate to. Like,
yes,
people still.
Sorry, I'm making more jokes. Continue.
No, I'm just saying, like, people are still, like, they're like, oh, God, I just wish Tony Moore had drawn the whole series. I wish... And it's like, dude, what you need to understand is that if it was Tony Moore, there wouldn't be a Walking Dead.
No.
Right.
Because he would have fucking burned out and petered out after, like, what, 6 issues is what it took? 10?
Well, that's the thing. Same thing with Invincible.
Cory Walker
and
and Otley kind of have it the opposite direction. A lot of people, especially coming off the TV show, are going, why do these first 7 issues look like shit? Because they're all like uncultured swine.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if Cory Walker would have stayed with it, Invincible would have ended because
he couldn't
would have waned because no new issues would have came out for 4 months. And
right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, it is a tale as old as time. It basically, like, people are going to gravitate towards this perceived, Flash, like, more polished, finger quotes, whatever. When we were just, like, talking about, like, the design work in Savage Dragon, you have so many cool designs, and then you look at the design work in Spawn, or even, like, at fucking WildCATS. Like, what great designs really are in WildCATS? It's like, not much, dude. They're like pretty shitty.
I will say they're in my opinion, they're better than Cyberforce for sure. They're better than Youngblood. I think I would say they're number 2 design wise as far as like those launch titles.
I just still think that, like, then when you compare to like all the different designs going on in, like, Savage Dragon, like Octopus and Open Face, just even within this time frame.
Right.
Even within this time frame, look at Savage Dragon number 12, and you look at all the different designs going on. You've got She-Dragon, who has a cool look, Overlord, you've got Octopus and Open Face, you got Justice with his very retro but still very cool look. All these cool looking characters. And then you flip over to Savage Dragon 13, and you got Space Batman, and everyone else is just dudes in trench coats.
Yeah, I will say
it's horrendous.
Liefeld gets shitted on a lot. To me, I think his designs are probably second to Larsen over WildCATS because, I mean, guys like Bad Rock and Prophet and even Shaft, you remember those guys. I feel like their designs kind of stick out. The guy with the skull on his head, what's that guy's name? I don't know.
Chapel.
No. Well, this Chapel, that guy sticks out too. I feel like that really is not seen before that. Oh, the other guy,
the other skull face.
He's got the little like skull pendant on his forehead.
The little skull. I know the one you mean. He's got the little skull on his forehead, yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like, as much as, we can rip on Liefeld, he had some designs that were, like, interesting and, still are memorable today, even if they are a little silly or a lot silly, but, like, Prophet's little, like, boxing mask thing and things like that are just... So I feel like Liefeld, his comics had a lot to be desired, but I felt like his designs, at least from a 90s sense, were pretty strong.
I'll say he probably had stronger designs than Jim Lee. Like, you look at like Jim
That's
Lee
what I'm
and
saying.
The stuff like Jim Lee went on to, like, what original Jim Lee characters stand out in your mind the way, like, like you said, Youngblood, Supreme,
Gen 13 was probably the better.
See, those guys don't even stand out much to me besides, like, the grunge guy, and even him, they just look like normal people to me.
I don't know. They are pretty normal. For some reason, I've always gravitated towards them, though. Although I've never read the book, although I do own the book, I've always found, like, characters like Fairchild and Freefall, and, well, I just always thought they were well designed. They have simple designs, which I like. They aren't covered in tubes.
Piping.
Yeah, middle 90s piping.
Yes. like Warblade.
Jim Lee's designs, I feel like his WildCATS designs are not bad and probably the best that I've seen, but overall his designs really turn me off on most things.
New 52.
Yeah, that is just freaking horrible.
Yeah. As a design guy, I don't think he works out very well because he puts piping on everything, and then everyone else has to draw it, and it just looks awful.
He just overdoes it.
Yeah.
There's
Anyway.
some weird things too. Like, what's going on with Maul and those weird horn things on his back?
I
What
think
is
it's
that?
just to make him unique and also give him something like when he charges into you, although I can't imagine
there
those
ever
things being
been-
able to hit you.
Has there ever been a shot from the back? of
I
what that-
would
I've always
love-
like, what the hell is that? Where does it come from? I don't understand.
Yeah, they just come off. It seems like they should come off his shoulder blades, but it feels more like they come off like the lower, like his lower to mid back.
Yeah. So, like from the back, it looks like he has a big circle around his head, like a halo.
It's
Yes,
just
they are.
strange.
I think
It's
they're.
such a
I think they're.
strange design.
Also, that McDonald's M on his forehead, I've never liked.
The McDonald's M. Also, it's just kind of funny his open pit design. Like, gotta let those pits breathe.
Yeah, I feel like Larson probably didn't really understand how those like tusks work either, so like never draws him from the backside.
Oh, guys, you can totally see him from the back. Flip towards the end of the fight scene where you see what's Mercury chick?
Oh, Nova or Void?
Void. Where you see Void on the top two panels, and she's getting in a fight with Rapture, and you see Maul smash Thum. Look at his back.
I can't really tell what the hell is going on there.
Yeah, they kind of sweep out.
But I'm just saying, there it is. There's this very issue. There's your back of Maul.
Still can't really tell.
At any rate, we should probably talk about Savage Dragon, the real Savage Dragon 13.
Best
Before we
issue
do,
Oh, right, we have-
ads, dude, ads.
Well, we only got one ad I think is worth talking about, and that is Blackthorn.
Blackthorn.
Blackthorn is
dude.
such a good game. So Blackthorn was on the Super Nintendo and I think PC. It's hard to describe because it's a hold on. Because it's a 2D platformer, but it's like Prince of Persia style, where like the movement is like really deliberate and jumps are dangerous because there's fall damage. But you're like a dude who gets sucked through a wormhole into like his fantasy world, and like there's all these monsters, and you have a shotgun, and you get to shotgun monsters.
You
Did
missed
Jim
the best
Lee
part.
design it?
No, I
Yeah.
don't. Did he?
He did. He designed Blackthorn.
Wow, I didn't actually know that part. I guess
Check
it
it out.
explains why it's in this book.
You're Kyle Blackthorn.
The most lethal weapon in the universe, and now he's come home to take out the trash.
I want you to really look at that gun in his hand, Jim. In the game, it is clearly a double-hand shotgun.
Yep.
But Jim Lee has chosen to make it sort of a pistol shotgun hybrid.
It's like a sawed-off shotgun, isn't it?
It's definitely, look at that pistol grip.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
definitely doesn't know what a sawed-off shotgun looks like.
Yeah, so that's definitely Wonk City. The one thing I don't want to skip before we leave this real quick is the pinup. We kind of missed the pinup in Savage Dragon 13 Jim Lee's. So I just want to say real quick, it's by Jeff Rebner and Tom McWeeny. It's probably the most solid thing in that entire issue. And shout out to Tom McWeeny, who is still very much active and very awesome. Like
Did you
a
guys
great...
ever-
He's a great cartoonist.
Did you guys ever see Erik's art for Duke Nukem?
Yes.
All right, that was for like one of those gaming covers he did. He did a few
Yeah.
of those, right?
Yeah. I think it was like Electronic Gaming Monthly or something.
Something like that.
I think he did a great job. Duke Nukem, Erik on Duke Nukem is a great fit.
Yeah, there's like a cover where he drew a bunch of X-Men too, and it's like one of the few times he like drew most those X-Men, but like the original art for that is like lost, and so like the only copies of that cover are like really shitty scans.
Damn, I'm being drawn by the guy that draws Savage Dragon. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Groovy.
So
All right.
So of course I've read Savage Dragon 13 before, but only in trade collection form. So here's the funny thing: I actually thought issue 13 of Savage Dragon, the Larsen Dragon 13, used a lot more art from WildCATS 14, but in truth, it uses almost very little.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts how little it uses and how much of this is like the original story, because all the stuff with the underground freaks, because basically what this story is, what this issue is like what Dragon was doing when the Wildcat issue was going on.
Right.
And it's all from Dragon's point of view.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Before we dive into it, I just want to talk one quick thing, because I don't remember if we talked about off air or earlier during this episode, but you were asking when this new 13 came out.
Right.
Were there like 2 issues that month or something? So
Yeah.
this issue 13 came out 8 months after the original 13 by Jim Lee, and it came out between Savage Dragon 19 and 20. So Savage Dragon 19 came out in April 95, and Savage Dragon 20 came out in July 95, and this new 13 came out right before 20 in June. So it was April's 19, June 95 was 13A, and then July 95 was 20. So he definitely didn't double up. He just kind of took a month off to write this, or 2 months.
I love this cover, bros. I think those color hold webs look fantastic.
Yeah. This is another one where we're seeing Widow for the first time, so it's like, who the hell is this? You probably would think she's a villain.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, Star does.
Star a little trigger happy there.
Yeah, he wants to shoot everybody with those stars, but can you blame him?
I like Nurse Anne's application of the sort of bandages, and I think that it's funny because he got bit in the face, so they make perfect sense, but they kind of look silly when it's not silhouette. But then later on in the issue, Erik has Dragon with those in silhouette, but the bandages are visible, and I think it looks so cool.
Yeah, I love how it just continues right off from issue 12, so it's open faces
and it's
bite marks.
It's interesting to me because that would mean that originally, when Savage Dragon 14 came out, none of this would have been in that issue. So it would not have picked up directly after that fight with Open Face.
Right.
So I'm trying to think. So the stuff we see with the Fiend and Miss Harris would have not been shown.
Right.
I assume we would have seen her next appearance was she'd already be possessed.
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff with the underground freaks, because this is not the first time they would appear, because they would have appeared in a future issue, but this would be chronologically now in the collection, this is now their first appearance.
Right, yeah. It does create a confusing sort of a flow there, right?
Yeah. But it is fun to see Rock and Widow and Radical and the gang.
Yeah, man, this is a good issue. I really loved that, the pinups, everything he does with Widow. She just looks so cool. The webs and stuff, and this is so good. And I think all the underground scenes have a super awesome, just the sort of where he just cuts into the shadows, on Dragon's silhouetted form there.
Yep.
So good, dude.
It's actually kind of funny because you also, with them tangled up in the webs, you get to see Star doing a bunch of Spider-Man poses.
Yeah. It's good. It's like his Spider-Man pastiches coming face to face.
I think the big double page spread with the WildCATS showing up, I think it was slightly recolored.
You know what's so funny is that I thought that too, but
it's just a little darker.
As I hold them side by side, I swear I can't really see the huge difference.
Yeah.
And remember, mine's on newsprint,
right?
And slick, and as I hold them side by side, they really don't look that different. I can't see the real difference. But I'm with you. I thought the same thing. I was like, did he make this happen at a different time of night? But side by side, they're identical.
Yeah, now that you mention it, in the WildCATS issue, I think it was supposed to be broad daylight, and this is evening.
And yet, it's got the same coloring in the WildCATS issue.
Weird.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Maybe the sky's color different?
No, the sky's the same. It's really hard to tell. Yeah, it's really...
I don't know.
They're virtually the same.
It
dude.
definitely looks like it's a little darker, though. But the coloring does appear to be identical. Anyway.
Damn, dude. I don't know if my eyes are tricking me, Jim.
Yeah.
But, like, okay, I think I see the lone difference. Holy shit. This is a weird, subtle thing. In WildCATS, it appears that there's, like, more, like, light coming off of our gal Void in the upper left-hand corner.
Right.
Than in the Dragon issue. And
I
that
see.
appears to be the only color difference.
Huh.
Weird.
Well,
Weird.
the human eye is a baffling thing when two colors are put side by side.
Do you see it? Or
Yeah,
am
I
I
do.
crazy?
No, I think you're right.
Like you went in there and said, nah, take that brightness out.
Um,
Guys, how the fuck is Cyberface in the underground layer here? Like, I thought he died in prison. Wasn't he poisoned? At the beginning of the issue where Frank and Dragon are storming the tower?
it comes up later, of course, and of course I believe this, of course, would have been fed back in after those revelations, but he basically survived, and he's been living underground the whole time. How that happened, I have no idea.
Okay.
But yes, you're right. He did get poisoned in prison.
I was just making sure that this was the last time we'd seen him.
Yeah. Yeah, he got bumped off, and that means Overlord got to walk free because they didn't have their informant.
Did you guys notice on the panel where when Dragon and Star first walk into the underground freak's lair, like how many characters that we never see are in there? Like that weird, like orange guy with super long arms,
Yeah.
and then Larry Marder's Bean World guy is in the back
Oh,
there.
yep.
I'm glad you pointed that out, yeah.
But there's a lot of like that weird character with like it looks almost like a zombie all the way to the left of the panel with like the stripy red suit with like the stringy hair. I don't know. It's just funny. Like it's like, you know, when you first see them, there's all these characters and then they just kind of disappeared.
It is interesting that this underground area is like it's part of the city that's been built over. But what's really crazy is I know that places like this really exist
Yeah.
because they build highways over top of everything, but they don't tear the buildings down necessarily.
In the movie Malignant, that was actually like part of the plot. Cities just built on top of cities.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's a thing.
creepy.
That's a thing in Judge Dredd as well. Mega City one's built over top of like all of the old cities, and they're all still down there, and they're full of mutants.
Well, and that's kind of like this turns into kind of like Pipe Town, I guess is what it's called eventually.
Right.
I love when Erik draws those back that setting with all the pipes and stuff. It's got to be so labor intensive.
I'm trying to think because there's was it Chicago? I believe Chicago is one of those cities that when they built either the subway system or the sewer system, they actually had to go through the entire city and jack it up like 10 feet.
What?
Like every single building had to be jacked up 10 feet in the air to put a sewer system in. At some point, and this was like in the late 1800s, I think.
That seems like quite a feat. I don't know. But
I'll have to look more into
You're
that.
right.
But I remember hearing that or reading that somewhere.
City planning, dude, is berserk, though, because, like, I saw a thing in Korea where instead of just building a new school, they just, like, lifted the school up and moved it. And I was like, why, though? Like, just build a new one. Like, what the hell?
Costs,
How is that the better idea? But, Guys, plug your drain, butt wipe.
What?
Like, he's,
Here it is.
in the middle of the
Chicago.
fight scene.
Chicago was raised over 4 feet in the 19th century to build its sewer system.
Weird.
Yeah. Sorry, continue, Raven.
No, I was just saying barbaric, like his quip in the middle of the fight scene, you know, like Super Patriot says, "Nice effort, T2, it's not enough." And Barbaric's quip is, "Plug your drain, butt wipe." That's quality.
So
That hasn't aged a day.
So these are 2 pages that were taken from WildCATS, as was the big double-page splash page.
Mm-hmm.
And the third page with the fight with Super Patriot and Spartan fighting, that was also taken. And then, as best I can tell, there's just like 2 or 3 more panels, but otherwise everything's new.
Yeah, I mean, the page that has the big doom on the top,
Right.
That panel is new, but I think there's a few, like the last two panels are old.
They're reused, yep. And where Dragon grabs Grifter by the arm, that's reused.
Yeah, that whole page is reused verbatim.
Then the group shot at the end where everyone's shaking hands. And then, oh yeah, I forgot. Erik put in the whole, like, Mighty Man reveals his identity Dragon in this issue.
Yeah, because he never did. He only did it in Freak Force.
Yeah, he
Which
never.
is crazy.
This is a way for him to reveal it a lot sooner to Dragon.
Yeah, I guess at some point he would just start knowing it without this scene to be told.
But it is crazy, like you guys said, like this one printed like 8 months out of sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, for readers of Savage Dragon, this pivotal moment is just like, sort of like, put in, retconned in,
Well, it's not as pivotal if you read Freak Force because it already came out to them, but I guess it's pivotal for Dragon understanding who Mighty Man is. The readers at this point already knew.
I appreciate the hell out of the fact that Erik redrew that last panel to sort of like
What, the
be
beach?
a different.
The beach scene?
Yeah, it's like a different like perspective.
Yep.
Like if you look at the last page of the WildCATS issue and then look at the last panel here, it's the exact same thing. Like everyone's even posed like in the same ways.
Is the background like a stat almost that was shrunk down?
I think he redrew it.
It looks redrawn to me.
Wow.
But yeah, the camera is put behind Rapture. But it is. He went the extra length, the extra effort.
It's good, dude. I
I
dig
gotta
it.
say, those glasses are way cooler than the round glasses.
Yes.
Big time. Big time. Any day of the week. Well, guys, I mean, I just want to say, I said there was nothing good in the letters page, but there's no way in hell that I'm going to not take just a moment to appreciate the Savage Dragon Ball anime-inspired
And
1995.
I really thought I invented that.
You did not.
I gotta check something real quick.
It's great, though, dude. Like, here's this Swedish fan that was like,
Oh, they're
dude, I like
Swedish.
Savage... He's like, I like Savage Dragon and anime, and I live in Sweden.
My butt is on the Swedish.
So, here's the insane thing. No, it's Kai. No. Oh, I should have looked this up before. I may have to cut some dead time out of this.
That's okay, man. Cut that dead time.
Where is it? I want to know when Dragon Ball Z first aired in North America. Oh, it wasn't until 1996. So America doesn't know what Dragon Ball Z is yet. Here in 1994. Well, I guess 1995.
95, yeah.
Or if the only people who would be like huge weebs. Because I know like cassette tapes were being traded around at this time, so people knew, but it wasn't on TV yet.
VHS tapes, right?
Yeah. VHS swapping was a thing.
Yeah,
There were a lot of bootlegs. Like I remember, there was like this place I had to go upstairs in Boston, and you could get all the Kung Fu bootlegs, and they had all the Dragon Ball on bootlegs, like just copied onto VHS.
But if this is coming from Sweden, who knows how they learned about it?
Right. I mean, but like, there's no mistaking that is like a Dragon Ball face.
Oh, that is Toriyama as hell.
Yeah.
How about the Savage Dragon Pewter statue?
Yeah, man.
3+ inches tall.
It's actually pretty tall for a pewter.
I looked into it, and this company had quite a few, pewter stuff. Didn't they go on to do, like, I think Rapture 2?
No idea.
I don't think so.
Well, they had more than just Dragon, is all I'm saying.
Sculpted
And-
like
No, I think they only had Pewter by Claymore. He had statues. There was another years later, like 10 or 15 years later, there was another group that came out with kind of 3 different little pewter statues. One of them was Rapture. I think it was Rapture,
Okay.
Mighty Man, and Dragon.
That's what I'm thinking about. Okay. Got it. Quick question, diehard Craig Olson. Do you own this?
No. Do not.
What? Do you want it? Or is it a thing that's lacking or what?
No, I don't want it. I'm not really into it. I don't want that original statue. I'm not into that. What I do want, and I never bought and never pulled the trigger on, is the little mini bust. I like that.
The one where it's just an arm? He's just like flexing?
Yeah, and they make a couple different versions. They have like a bloodied version and a regular version. That
Are
I
those
think
hard to
looks
get,
pretty
or?
cool. I don't think so. I just think I'm not a big like statue guy by any means, and I think at the time I was like, man, I don't want to spend $100 on that thing.
Which is
But
funny
now-
because now it's probably like fucking 300 or something.
I don't know if it is, but I don't know. I mean, it would be cool, but I'm not like I have to have that.
So this has sort of been an interesting stretch of issues. I think that this whole Image X thing really, as much as I was like shitting on Jim Lee's issue or whatever else, I do think that it gave us kind of a cool opportunity came out of it to see Erik restore his run with his own 13 and just sort of the choices that he made. Like, with the reusing of some panels, and then he redrew the one, and how he sort of retconned in stuff. Like, this feels significant as hell, this 13 that he did.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff happens. We meet the Underground Freaks. Mighty Man reveals his identity to Dragon. That's really it.
The Fiend possesses...
right, Fiend Possession. Right, so that's 3 things.
Yeah, I mean, it's substantial. And he really didn't have to do anything substantial. If he just had a big fight scene or something, he could have phoned it in, is what I'm saying, and he didn't. And
as I said, I have only ever previously read this in trade form, so to me, this is just normal how the story reads. I can't even imagine what reading it without this would be like.
Right.
I'll try to keep it in mind when we get to further on issues. Just to see, like, put myself into the mindset of, like, I don't have Larsen 13, so what do I think I know coming off issue 12? I had one more thing. What was it? I can't remember.
Real quick, if you guys had your choice, same creators that were available, who would you have put? I mean, with your modern, not who would you have done in the past, but with your modern brain, who would you have rather, and knowing how shitty Jim Lee's job ended up being, who would you rather see have done a Savage Dragon 13?
Ugh, that's tough.
I
don't really care to see anybody, but
I mean, but imagine it had to happen.
Yeah.
And somebody's doing it, and you're standing there, and you have your modern brain, like Jim Lee's going to do a shitty job. So you get to say, actually, blah, blah should do it. Who would you choose?
Well, right. My initial reaction is to say Valentino.
Right.
But I've just remembered what Shadowhawk number 4 looked like. So now I'm not so sure that was that would be the best choice, because I know Valentino is talented as a writer and an artist, but I don't think his art style as it currently is in this time frame would be as good as I imagine. So I gotta say, crazy thought, I think I'd almost rather see Liefeld do it. Just to see what that would look like.
Ooh, Craig? What about you?
I'm not a fan of... Well, I like Valentino, and I like his art when it's his stuff. I really have no interest in seeing him draw Savage Dragon based on his version in Shadowhawk. Liefeld, I really don't have any interest based on how I've seen him draw Dragon. He just does not look... He does not draw a good Dragon. Silvestri, I feel like he's the best artist, but not the best artist for Dragon.
Right.
I don't think he would do a good Dragon.
It would probably end up looking like the Lee one. Really.
Yeah, to me, I gotta go with McFarlane just for the fact that it would be cool to see McFarlane's take on Larsen rather than everything we got before, which was Larsen was always coming after McFarlane and doing his version right after McFarlane.
Right.
So to see, like, I think McFarlane still has the cartoony stuff that would fit Savage Dragon. I don't think it would look great, but I think of all the options for me, he's the best. Although if he wrote it, it would be horrible.
Yeah, you come in, create Medieval Dragon, and be a whole lawsuit in the future.
Yeah,
Right.
I just don't think that there's a good option, to be honest. And if the best of bad choices, I think is McFarlane for me. What about you, Raven?
I mean, it's not exciting because like Jim already chose, but I too would have chose Liefeld, just because I think that in that age, like 1994, Liefeld would have made sure to drawn action, and he would have put in as many characters as he could have, because that's kind of was what he was doing then. You flip through his books, and he just makes sure. So I feel like if you put Liefeld, 94 Liefeld, on Savage Dragon 13, he's gonna go and he's gonna flip through Freak Force and Savage Dragon earlier issues, and he's gonna just try to draw as many cool looking like poses and fights as he can.
And he's gonna put stuff in it that sticks with his books. Because he did do that with like Vanguard and Super Patriot in his books. So it's a good point. I feel like I've seen enough Liefeld art now. Maybe back then, but now I've seen enough Liefeld art with dragon characters that I'm like,
I agree with you. I mean, I totally agree with you, but still I would choose him. And the reason, because you guys kind of went into your reasons, like I'm just not a Valentino guy. I don't like McFarlane's writing. I feel like he would do something lazy, like he'd he'd just do Dragon, and like maybe like everyone else would be normal, or it'd be Dragon and Spawn. I know what it would be. It would be Dragon and Spawn. That's exactly what he would do. Is he would have Dragon and Spawn somehow be around. It would read more like a Spawn issue. And then Silvestri, I like him best of all of these options, but I just feel like also too, his Silvestri's so close to Jim Lee in terms of like, whatever he's going to give you. I feel like Silvestri wouldn't have done as poor a job as what came out, but I feel that it would have also been full of fairly normal looking people standing around, like just looking sexy or whatever, but with
a normal sized dragon.
Right. Yeah. And I don't want that. So again, I got to go with Liefeld because I feel like he would swing for the fences and at least put in as many characters as he could.
You know, it's funny when you talk about McFarlane being lazy. Did you look at the covers of Silvestri's Spawn and McFarlane's Cyberforce?
No, but I can check it out right now. You said Silvestri's Spawn?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. Hello?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. my internet kind of gave me a little fright. Oh, let's see.
So it's Spawn 25.
Okay, I'm loading it as we speak. God damn, dude. My roommate must be like super information highway in there or something. Okay, that's a pretty sweet looking Spawn, though.
Okay, right. But now look at McFarlane Cyberforce. I don't know. What issue was that?
It appears that it is issue 8?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
So compare those two covers.
Oh my god, why are they the same?
Yeah, because McFarlane's fucking lazy as shit.
Is it lazy or is it poetic, like they rhyme?
I think it's lazy. I think it's lazy as shit. I think he drew Ripclaw in a Spawn pose, and everything else is a Spawn. What the hell? After Mark?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So
he just took Silvestri's cover for Spawn 25.
This is what it. This is what I made. It even says in the signature McFarlane after Mark.
Right. He was basing it on the pose that Mark did on the Spawn cover.
That's terrible, though.
It's like lazy.
You see where...
Wow. Okay, so I must be having a stroke because, in my opinion, this is actually cool.
I mean, it's okay
It's
if
typical.
you like
It's
it.
typical McFarlane, though. I
Yeah,
swear.
that's it. It's okay if you like it. That's fine. But it's typical McFarlane that he finds some cheat.
He did
or
the
does a
same
drawing.
shit. He did the same shit with the Spawn cover, where he did the Savage Dragon Spawn variant, and it was just he took a already drawn Savage Dragon by Larsen and just kind of re-inked it. Remember?
Yep. Yeah, look how good, like you said, look how good this Silvestri Spawn 25
Oh yeah, the
looks.
Silvestri by far is the superior cover. I just think the recurring motif is actually kind of neat.
I don't know, man. Just come up
yeah.
with something. Like I'm seeing, you're on Cyberforce doing you're really gonna just copy the same exact pose. Like I don't know.
I gotta agree with Craig. I think it's lazy, and this is the thing that why I wouldn't want to see McFarlane on Savage Dragon, because even though he's an incredible illustrator, he would do something lazy like this.
It is pretty wild though that this Image crossover month with Silvestri is Spawn 25.
Yeah, like it's not some big celebration issue.
Milestone issue, exactly.
Right. This is why I'm telling you there should have been X issues. And that way you could collect all the X issues, or they could put them in a trade and split the profits or whatever the hell they wanted. But if their Image X had just been X issues, it would have solved all of this. Ay, ay, ay. Oy, Gavolt. Ay, 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 ay.
All right, I got one last question, then we're going to wrap this up.
Okay.
How do you, both of you, feel about Erik Larsen's run being basically incomplete because of this Image X month snafu? Is the fact that Erik went back and replaced the issue enough to say it's a continuous run, or does Savage Dragon start at 14?
To me personally, he went in and made amends. He did an entire issue worth. I mean, it's still his work even with the shared pages between those. So to me personally, run intact.
I feel like people could argue it on either side. It's almost like a cheat in a way, but honestly, I don't know. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, and I don't think it should bother anybody. The guy's, for what he's done, I think that could be a pass.
I agree. So I'm going to say that about wraps things up. Any other thoughts?
Yo, if anybody has a time machine, I'd like to cruise on back and avert a crisis. Just send me an email. We'll right some historical wrong.
It is kind of sad that things like this don't happen anymore because things aren't as tightly wound as they were then. But I think this is also a cautionary tale of what happens when these things go awry. So maybe it's...
I will say it gave us one of the coolest issues of Freak Force.
Freak Force?
Basically.
You mean WildCATS?
The WildCATS issue. Well, okay. I'm calling it Freak Force, though. We never really got to see Erik draw
Craig
Freak
making
Force.
jokes. It's a
weird... I agree, though. I agree. You're right. This is like an Erik Larsen drawn Freak Force issue.
We never got to see him really draw a Freak Force issue, and it's kind of as close as we get.
You're right, dude. I'm okay with it. That's a good
If I was
point.
a WildCATS fan, I might not be okay with it, but as a Erik Larsen fan, it's as close as we're getting to him drawing Freak Force.
Huh. Take that, Vic Bridges.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, fellas.
Yeah, this was a long retro episode. I'm not sure if it was a good idea to do them all at once, but
we did it, and it's done.
It's done.
Too bad.
It's over. On to Freak Force, which will probably be next retro episode.
Nice. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.